need to talk about the truth about the Tottenham Hotspur away day experience. Welcome to the second episode of Back of the Net's away day guide for the 2025-26 Premier League season. This strand on our YouTube channel is all about how good or bad an away day is. Look, Liverpool started very strongly this season. They're top of the league. I mean, they're top of the actual league as well. But how do Spurs compare? And look, we know that there are going to be some away fans tuning into this thinking, why don't you rate your own ground? 11,000 seats, it's crap. Look, we know, but we can't rate our own ground. It's all about the away days. So, Back of the Net, as a fan channel, we're a Bournemouth fan channel, we're all about giving you an authentic experience about what it's like on an away day. We take in a raw view of what it's like inside the ground, outside the ground, plus we chat to some locals, gauge the area and see what it's like. So we gauge the city, the pubs, the people, the stadium, the view, the noise and the concourse. That's 7 different factors and we rate it out of 10. We talk about pretty much everything apart from the game itself. Well, why? If we lose 4-0 on the road, then our thoughts subconsciously are going to dictate that we absolutely hated the away day. So we don't want to do that. And listen, this series is all about learning what we can do better when we travel away as well. So if you've got any advice about different things that we could do on a match day next time we come to your place, because we should be Premier League, right? We hope so. Let us know in the comments and we'll go from there. Who's it this week? It's Tottenham Hotspur. Let's talk about the city then. Well, where do you begin with the city of London? It's so vast. We came into Victoria, this time on the coach, and then we took the tube and then the overground to Tottenham Hotspur itself, which is located in the Northumberland Park ward of Tottenham Haringey, which is largely a kind of residential area composed of houses and flats. Now, as part of the Northumberland development project, this area is undergoing significant regeneration with plans for new housing, retail spaces, hotels, a primary school, supermarkets and also improved transport links as well, right? The new stadium, of course, has been the catalyst to a lot of this. Now, London to me, when I go on an away day, sometimes it's a little bit of a blur. There's so much going on, but obviously there is lots to do. There's plenty to do around the area as well. You've got Bruce Castle Museum in Park, which is a kind of Tudor era grade 1 listed manor converted into a museum, which is pretty cool if you want a bit of culture. The Tower Gardens Estate, which is like a hidden heritage gem. It's a really well preserved arts and crafts garden suburb. Plus there's a lot of open space actually in and around like the Walthamstow wetlands and also the Tottenham marshes as well, with sprawling green spaces, scenic walks and a bit of wildlife spotting if you're a twitcher, is that ornithologist? I think they're both the same thing, right? But of course you've got the areas immediately around the ground as well, and so there's quite a contrast really with what you've got in certain spaces, but given there's so much rich history mixed with the urban generation, we actually really like it. So you know what, we'll go for a 7. The pubs then, right, specifically Bournemouth fans are usually directed to the Beehive, which is just off the main road, and also the Antwerp Arms. We've been to both and we've had a solid experience everywhere we've been when it's come to away day pubs and Spurs. The Beehive's quite a good sized pub actually. It's kind of got little rooms like spanning off the main room. You've got one at the back, you've got one on the right hand side. You've also got the large outdoor courtyard as well, some of which is covered. And it's relatively easy to grab a beer there, by the way, especially from that outside serving area where the burgers they do are absolutely sublime. On the other side you've got the Antwerp Arms. That's where we went for this one, but it gets busy. Now home and away fans go there, just like the Beehive. If you get there for about 1:30, it's heaving. You'll be queuing to get in, you'll be queuing for a pint. I sent Tiggs up, he came back about 40 minutes later. That's how long it was. It doesn't take that long to pour a Guinness, I'm telling you now. I think it was about 35 minutes. He went in to get a pint and then he came back out. That's criminal really. So the earlier you go there, the better. The vibe is really good though. And you can go to the small little outdoor garden at the back, or you can congregate on the road outside. However, this season, for some reason, there used to be tables and chairs on the grass bank opposite the pub. This time round, they got rid of them, which was a tad annoying. So we were all standing up. It's nice on a sunny day. Terrible, though, when it's raining. Also, there's the Beavertown tap room where you can relax with craft beers if you're into all that kind of stuff. That's decent. And look, there's a few choices then when it comes to away day pubs, but they do get busy. I was going to go for a 7, right? Which is solid, but on this day specifically, due to the queuing at the Antwerp Arms specifically, I'm going to have to give it a 6. Sorry. The people then. The people of Tottenham. The people of North London. The white side of North London. The better side. This is going out to Spurs fans. The better side. I sense that Spurs fans, as people, they're great. But this is all about kind of the vibe you get from them, right? I sense that they're in a state of constant transition with themselves. I think a lot of the times they think they've turned a corner, only to then realise that they might not have. And I think it's that constant cycle of being up and down with their own emotions about their own football club that actually makes them quite grounded people, and maybe fairly wary that they can't set their expectations too high. I mean, they want to, and they know they should have higher aspirations, but every so often something resets them on their journey, like we did at the weekend. I get the feeling that there is some entitlement with a certain section of supporters, but I've got to say, not all, and maybe not the majority actually. One of the quotes actually I saw from a Spurs fan channel online is that people often talk down about Bournemouth until they actually have to play them, and that perhaps I think sums it up perfectly in this case. I say talking down, that sounds a little bit negative, but they're perhaps rightfully saying we should be beating teams like Bournemouth, which I get, but then as the fixture draws near, I think there is amongst a few supporters that there's the realisation that, okay, this isn't actually going to be that easy at all, and this is really likely to be a banana skin that we possibly will slip over on. On the whole though, good chats. I think a few people were a bit dismissive of us, which, if you're unbeaten in the league at that point in time, yeah, you can maybe understand why you put in a really good shift against PSG to just miss out on the Super Cup. You can understand why the tails are up. But I feel as though many Spurs fans are like walking an emotional tightrope with their own club. I think Reece James put it perfectly well when I chatted to him outside the Antwerp Arms. He said, look, I understand that you've never beaten Thomas Frank, so you're playing Spurs now, so have a guess what's going to happen. And that transpired. I think when Spurs are performing, their fans they're all in, right? But they're equally as quick to step off that kind of all-in zone and then maybe analyse things with a stern eye when it doesn't. Sound people, great banter. For them, solid 7. To the stadium then, I mean, look, it's world class, isn't it? And we're not talking about atmosphere. That comes on one of the next categories. We're talking architecture, the look and feel. It is a beauty. It's a dedicated football stadium. It's a dedicated concert venue. It's a dedicated NFL stadium. And what's this about the F1 karting track as well? Unreal, right? The view's great. It is imposing. It's modern. It's easy to navigate. And it is one of the best builds out there. I mean, it is. It is. I do like the fact that they've retained some of the features from the old White Hart Lane, which is nice. Certain buildings around the place have been restored and modernised, but really, in terms of the ground, there's not much that you can't love with this place. I think some football purists who probably prefer the traditional builds will think that this is everything that football shouldn't be, with its multi-purpose use and all that, but it's not West Ham, is it? I think the fact that the football elements have not been sacrificed means that this one scores very, very well indeed. What a stadium. I'm going for the big 9 points on this. 9 to Spurs. And the view at Tottenham is great. It's not difficult to see everything. I think the rake, which is kind of like the angle, it's not the gradient I want. Maybe a little bit steeper, but there's no problem with seeing anything on the pitch. You feel very close to the action, which I really like. And also plenty of space as well. Even at Dean Court, when you're in the safe standing in the north stand, you feel as though you can't almost get your elbows out here. You feel as though you got a lot of room and you're not crammed in there like sardines. And also what I like about the view actually is that being on the corner, you can have the view behind the goal if you want, almost. but also at the side of the pitch as well. So you can see your own supporters, which I think is nice when you're all trying to come as one and sing a song, which is sometimes when you can't see your own supporters, you see or you hear different parts of the fan base singing at sort of different intervals, and it's very difficult to combine as one choir. With this, it's fairly easy. You can see when they're clapping, you can see everything that's going on around you. So I really, really like this away section. It's got to be 8 out of 10. Okay, this is one that Spurs fans won't like. It's time to talk about the noise, the atmosphere. It was really bad. Really bad. And look, we've said this on the previous video, we've said this when we've done this series before. There are a couple of factors that come into play here. Like, firstly, the opposition you're playing. We get that we're Bournemouth. We're not exactly a fixture that you're looking forward to during the week, are we? And also the second factor is how the game goes itself in terms of your team's performance, but also the natural ebbs and flows of the game, the chances you have, and also the scoreline. Well, look, Spurs didn't register a shot in the first half, which was mad. And I think the XG at the end was something like 0.16, which was absolutely shocking. And apart from the, when the Spurs go marching in at the very start with the trumpeter and all that, I'm not sure I heard a song. We were even mocking like we've had a shot. That's how bad the Spurs performance was, and that will then obviously reverberate into the stands. Us scoring early was another thing that helped to quieten them as well, but there wasn't much in the way of like, you know, positive vibes being sent from the stands to the players. Like, I've got to contrast it with Liverpool from our first match week where they were 2-0 up, they were buzzing. We brought it back to 2-2. Their fans instantly got behind their side. When Spurs went 1-0 down, it was almost like a, you know what, it's not happening, is it? And you can maybe see that from the performance, and it lends into what I said earlier, really, with Spurs fans always almost being a spitting distance between being all in to being F this shit, you know, in terms of their own feelings about the club. There were some murmurings in the last 10 minutes where Spurs slightly turned it on a little bit, starting to push, but it was half chance. It wasn't very loud at all. And look, 17,500 people in that one stand behind the goal as a wall. I mean, it was a wall made of custard. It's a 2 out of 10. I'm so sorry, but it's a 2 out of 10. I can only play the cards I'm dealt here, and I know against Arsenal it would be an 8 or a 9, right? But given how the match went, yeah, what we definitely heard was a 2, and I can't apologise for that score. There was nothing on the pitch to inspire your team, so you can blame your players for this, not the actual fans, I would say. You just wouldn't know that there were that many people in the stadium. No doubt you'll say the same about us when you come to visit Vitality Stadium when the reverse fixture happens in January, but it's a 2 out of 10. Finally, the concourse at Spurs. We're going to finish on a high, Spurs fans, don't worry. I love it. I love it. There's plenty of space. It's split over 2 levels, which I like. So we tend to go at the top, and we have a scenic view out of the nearby skyline in North London. The queues are good for food and drink. The service is fast. It's light and it's airy in there. It doesn't feel dingy. And also the split levels helps with creating a good pre-match vibe. You see videos everywhere on the internet of people in the away stand singing songs. You see people bashing on the barriers at the top and stuff. I love that. We were doing it before the game. We were doing it at half time. Toilets were clean. The staff were helpful. There were TVs dotted about. It was all very well maintained, which you'd probably expect from a new stadium, right? But the stadium was Wi-Fi, by the way, free, high capacity. Just have to connect to the stadium guest network and you're in, and that was quite handy. The facilities do feel very upscale for a football ground, but they should be, really, shouldn't they, given it's so new. A good selection of food and drink as well. So for us, this is probably the best in the Premier League. I'm going for 9, and I'm only going for 9 because there could be one that could be a 10. I don't know. So I'm going to go for 9, but that outscored Liverpool, so fair play Spurs. So there we go then. In all, I think it's a very decent away day. Really good. It's just their own crowd that let them down on the day. Transport to and from the grounds, really good. Although afterwards there was an incident at Seven Sisters which made getting away a little bit tricky. But other than that, I mean, there's a White Hart Lane overground station. You can walk to Seven Sisters as well. Or there are other escape routes too. Out of 70 points, Spurs scores 48. Here's the table. Look, only 2 away days, so you go into second place. Not bad. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough for Europe, for Spurs in this particular table, but we'll have to see how it pans out. Spurs fans, maybe you're subscribed after the vlog. You're probably unsubscribing after this, right? I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. If you want to subscribe, just press the button there. We'd appreciate it. Next up for us, for Bournemouth, it's Leeds at the end of the month. That'll be interesting. If you want to find out where your team ranks come the end of the season, do those things we said earlier, but also give us a like as well, because we truly appreciate it. So, second in the league, Spurs, you'll take that right, but you're going to dip, surely. Surely. Up the chest.